Hey, hello, comrades, and welcome back to my YouTube show. Привет, товарищи, и добро пожаловать мой show на YouTube. And today I'm going to talk about what were the holidays in former Soviet Union or USSR. Um, Holidays in Soviet Union were much different compared to United States because they have different holidays in the United States, and then Soviet Union, they had different holidays because there were two different countries. And so Soviet Union, they had this different holidays. And so now I'm going to talk about different holidays they had in Soviet Union. But then after the collapse of Soviet Union changed, there was Christmas in the Russia because there was no Christmas in Soviet Union because it was an atheist country, basically, because which means the country really doesn't believe in religion. So that's basically what happened during the Soviet Union era because that was when. But I'm gonna go into details when I go further on the video, and I'll tell you why it was atheist state, an atheist country. And so, and so, and so I'm going to talk about some of the holidays that were in the former Soviet Union. So I'm going to talk about the holidays now. So the popular holiday that was throughout all Soviet Union was New Year's. That was basically when that was between December 31st and January 1st, which was the New Year's. When New Year's, that was December 31st was when the New Year's Eve took place in Soviet Union and all other countries around the world. And then January 1st was when there was New Year's Day throughout all the countries. And so that's how it is right now today still. And so I think the families they would watch the TV and they would watch previous leaders like Leonid Brezhnev or Yuri Andropov. And I think it was Andropov one time during his short rule in power, his short 2 years in power. And then I think it was also Gorbachev made a New Year's address to the Soviet people during the New Year's when the New Year's Eve was coming, and then when it was New Year's, 5 minutes before the New Year begun, and then the leaders would just basically go on the television and they would give a statement about how good this year was, what have we accomplished this year so far. Basically that. They just basically tell everything that, and then they say when we go into the next year, it's going to be more better, and that kids are growing and stuff like that. They're becoming older, becoming adults basically. And so later on, I think when it was this January 1st of each year in Soviet Union, I think there would be like fireworks going on. That's basically like they would be shooting fireworks from Moscow, I think, and then the families would be opening champagne, I believe, and or vodka, and they would be drinking it with their families, and they would be dancing, and they would have this music going on. They would celebrate the new year and say goodbye to the old year. Like, for example, 1980, 1980, 1980, no, 1981, 1980, 1982, 1981, or 1980. They would say goodbye to the old year, basically. And so they would celebrate the new year with their families. And so another popular Soviet Russian comedy film, which is still popular, and it's a tradition in Russia still, and they still show it, and they still show it in the Ukraine. I think they show it in the Russia, but when it was Soviet Union, it was very popular because they show it, and and even now in modern day Russia, in present day Russia, it's still popular. They still show it on TV, basically, and so that was very interesting. And so they still show it every year, and they showed it in they showed it in all Soviet republics. They showed it from Russia, Ukraine. No, I think it was later on into the 2010s. It was banned. I think it was in 2015 or something like that. They outlawed Slotki Piaram. That's the name of the movie, Slotki Piaram. That's the tradition. That's the Soviet Soviet Russian romantic comedy film, basically. and they still show it today every New Year in the Russia. And when it was Soviet Union time, they would show it on the television each on this program, this TV program. They would show it throughout all the Soviet republics on the each New Year, basically. And so that was like that was like the tradition that was going on. And so and there were also fireworks during the New Year's of each year going on. And so I think there would be presents you would get, but there was no Christmas in Soviet Union because it was an atheist country, which basically means you don't believe in religion. You don't believe in religion, and that you don't believe in religion, and that was the communist government of how communist government of Soviet Union was. Okay. Anyway, on to the second holiday, Numir Dva. Okay, so next holiday was the next holiday after the New Year's was uh, next holiday after the New Year's Eve was after New Year's Day was the formation of the Red Army, which was when the time when the Red Army was found. And on February 23rd, 1918. That was after a year after the Russian Revolutions or October Revolution of 1917. That was when the Red Army was created by the communists, of the members of the Communist Party of the future Soviet Union, or which was then the Communist Party of Russia. That would later become future Soviet Union Communist Party. And so that holiday was celebrated in Soviet Union until it was dissolved in 1991. So that basically meant it was celebrated for almost 70 years, and then after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was celebrated in the Kazakh Turkmenistan, I think, and the Kazakhstan, which is celebrated on a different day, which is between May 7th of each year. And so that was the day when Nazi Germany capitulated, and that was celebrated just 2 days before not October Revolution, sorry, the Great Patriotic War victory, or the Victory Day. That was when the Soviet Union won the war against the Nazis in World War II. And so, okay, the third holiday, Numer 3. So next holiday, the third holiday I'm going to talk about now is the Great Patriotic War, or the Victory Day parade. That was basically when when the Soviets won the war against the Germans on May 9th, 1945. That was when Germany capitulated. And that was when the Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin, he gave a speech. Saying that the Germans have surrendered, and the Soviets won the war against the Nazis in World War II on the Eastern Front, or which was known as the Great Patriotic War. You see, so there were two different dates of World War II. One started in 1939. That was when Nazi Germany invaded Poland, and on September 1st, 1939, which started World War II. And then the second date of World War II, that started in June 22nd, 1941, which was when the Soviet Union, when Nazi Germany attacked the Soviet Union on January 22nd, 1941. And so after that, and so there were two different, and that the Eastern War just lasted for the Eastern Front lasted for about 4 years, and then it would end in 1945, which was when the Nazis were defeated by the Soviet troops, or the Red Army, in the Berlin. And so then there was this victory parade that was held in Moscow following the Germans' defeat at the Battle of Berlin, when the Soviet army uh, captured the Reichstag building, and they captured Berlin, which would come under the control between the Western forces and the Eastern forces. And so Berlin would come under Soviet, American, British, French control during most of the Cold War time. And so during the and then the Victory Day was like a major popular holiday in the former USSR during the Stalin and Brezhnev time, and it goes all the way until the 1990s, 1991, when it dissolved. And the Victory Day in Russia is like really popular. It's very famous to this day still. And it's still it's very popular right now, because right now you have videos of it on YouTube, and it shows like this Russian troops and the tanks going on the Moscow, and they have this parade, and they have this anniversary of the Great Patriotic War, of when the Soviets were fighting against the Germans in the 19 from 1941 to 1945, which was basically 4 years. That lasted for 4 years, that war between the Germans and the Soviets. And so later on, after that, that was when, I think it was in the 1960s, there was a law that was signed that said that all people could take a break. They could have a day off, so they could watch the Victory Day, which was in 1965. That was the 20th anniversary of the Victory Day. The Victory Day, that Victory Day, the 20th anniversary of the Victory Day in May 9th, 1965. That was a law when new General Secretary Brezhnev made a law, and he said that all people can have a day off during the the Victory Day parade. And so that was a new law that was made when Comrade Brezhnev was in power for almost two decades. Okay, the fourth holiday, Numer Четыре. So the fourth holiday I'm going to talk about is the National Solidarity Day, which was basically like the day when people could have a day off from work. That was a holiday. That was kind of like Labor Day, basically, in USSR. That holiday originated from Chicago, United States. And so that holiday originated from Chicago, United States, and that came into other Eastern countries, I believe. And so that holiday was celebrated in USSR during that time when it was around. And so I think people were off during that holiday, I think, from what I recall correctly, during the National Solidarity Day. And right now, that holiday, the National Solidarity Day, or the Workers' Day, is currently celebrated in socialist and communist countries. Like, I think it's celebrated in North Korea, China, and a bunch of others, I think, today. And it's celebrated in the United States as well, which is a capitalist country. Okay, so the fifth holiday, Numer Pet. So, okay, fifth holiday is the October Revolution. So, if you remember what October Revolution was, that was when Bolsheviks under the leadership of Lenin led a revolution against the Tsarist government of Nicholas the Second, I believe it was, and that happened on November 7th of 1917. And there were two different versions, two different dates of it. One was October 25th of 1917, and then the other date, and then I think they later changed the calendar, and they changed the date from November 7th of 1917. So each year they would celebrate the revolution with some parades and stuff in Moscow. And so they would celebrate the holiday, and the people would be in the Moscow. The leader would give the one of the leaders would give a speech to commemorate the anniversary of the revolution. And so to commemorate the revolution, and then I think in schools, whenever it was November 7th of 1970, whenever it was November 7th of each year, I think the schools would teach about October Revolution in history or something. And so they would talk about what October Revolution was and what happened during this event and stuff, and why is it so popular. And I think one leader gave a speech about, and I think one of the leaders gave a speech about the commemorate the October Revolution. And there was this one poem, I think, that one of the guys said, that one of the guys, or I think it was government officials, they said that the great and wise Lenin is watching over you to make sure to see if you have a good life and stuff like that. And so he's always watching over you from the portraits and from everywhere to see if you have a good life and stuff like that. That's basically what he made on the radio, what he said while he commemorated the October Revolution, the anniversary of October Revolution. Okay, so on to the next holiday, number 6, numer 6. Okay, so next holiday is the April 12th, 1961, because that was the time when Yuri Gagarin went into the space, when Russians put him on the site, the Vostok, which means east in Russian. And so Soviets put him on this Vostok, and so they put him on the Vostok, and they launched him into the space. And so, and then I think he was in the air he was in the space for 7 times. I think it was between 7 hours or something like that. And he was in the space for a very long time. And so I remember he said as this famous quote that is used by many people today, or by many Russians. He said, "Поехали," which means "let's go." And because I think it was some guys in one of the guys in the space program, they asked that, "Are you all right? You didn't crash? Are you all right?" And then Gagarin replied, "Поехали," which means "let's go." And so that became another holiday during that time. And so that is, and right now it's still celebrated in Russia. Now it's always celebrated on April 12th of each year. So they celebrate it every year. That's like a popular holiday, one of the popular holidays going on in Russia right now. So which is it still goes on right now. It still goes on right now. So yep, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So please drop a like and subscribe, and more history videos are coming up soon. До свидания, goodbye.